What kind
Yep.
of mindset do we have, and what kind of mindset can we build to stay physically fit?
You
Nicholas,
know,
go
the
ahead.
thing that I would say that the mindset that I have to the sit-ups and the push-ups is pretty simple for me, is that that's part of my getting ready routine.
Mhm,
So if I get up, everybody has their morning routine. I'll say it like that.
mhm,
Whether you get in the shower, you brush your teeth, or go to the bathroom, all that kind of stuff.
mhm.
So if that's just part of your morning routine, do you negotiate if you brush your teeth? So I'm not going to negotiate, that. So at least I hope that you wouldn't either. So
Right.
so so that's non-negotiable, and you can't say, well, it takes too much time, because it doesn't.
Mhm.
You know, if it's
Yeah,
25, okay, it's 25, then you knock it out, it's done, and that's part of your getting ready.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think getting into that mindset of like this is something to benefit me is really important, because when you see it as like an asset to you, you're going to be more committed to it. And that's why I think that you guys brought up really good points about like fitness apps and social media and things that hold you accountable to that routine, because it is super easy to fall off, especially when you don't see the progress that you want or something. But when you have something there to remind you or to keep you going, it's easier to stick to your mindset and to stick to your goals.
Wow, absolutely. And go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, reminders are really important. It's always good to prepare a day in advance what you're going to do the next day. If you don't have a routine set already.
Right.
In the beginning, I would write, I'm going to ride my bike tomorrow at this time.
Mm,
Because I'm a planner as well, so that works for me. So I'm going to
right.
ride my bike at this time. I'm gonna read this book at this time, and
Mhm.
that worked for me. For other people who are not planners, they don't have to write times down. They can just put, hey, I'm gonna do these things. These are my top priorities, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, and I could do them anytime within the day.
I love that.
That's a
Setting
good point.
a time, holding yourself accountable, uh, staying patient with yourself, and doing what you can wherever you are while you can, right? And back to Dr. Houston's point about he prays in the morning, whatever your spiritual belief is, you know, go with that and remember that to be thankful that we are just able to do so, that we're able to exercise, that if you could bend down and touch your toes, how much of a blessing that is, and utilizing that and using that momentum to build a mentally tough mindset and physical fitness routine. And it reminds me of like growth versus fixed mindset. Are any of you familiar with growth and fixed mindset?
Uh,
No. I
nah,
can, I can
You know,
explain it a little bit. Something in psychology that I learned during my undergrad, but a fixed mindset is like, oh, I don't exercise. Oh, my family, they're not healthy. They're obese. That's just the way it is. That's how it's going to be. And that's who I am. And that's there's nothing I could do about it, right? And then that's a fixed mindset. And then there's a growth mindset. Growth mindset is, you know what? My family has a history of not being so healthy, and that runs in my blood, that runs in my genes. So let me do something about that. Let me break that cycle of moving past that and creating my own physical fitness routine so that I can benefit myself and my loved ones, the ones around me. That's more of a growth mindset, right? So I feel like a growth mindset really plays a role in how we become physically fit and how we stay mentally tough. Because a lot of people kind of went down negatively on themselves when COVID hit. We lost our jobs and the gyms closed and we don't have any weights and we don't we can't go nowhere. We're just staying in the house. You know, I can't do anything. I don't have anything to work out with. And everyone kind of came up with a lot of excuses as to why they weren't getting healthy or why they were becoming unhealthy. I'll wait till COVID's over to go back to the gym when the gym's open, right? Those types of things, which, you know, is totally valid with anyone who is feeling that way. But if we approached it with a growth mindset, saying like, hey, I'm going to get up, I'm going to make my routine non-negotiable. I'm going to, you know, drink some water, and I'm going to eat healthy as I can. I'm going to play a game of chess with my brother Nicholas, and I'm going to see if I can beat him, you know, just so I can get a little bit better. And then I'm going to get 25 push-ups and try to do 100 today because I don't have any weights, but that's what I can do. And since I'm blessed and I'm able to do so, I'm going to try to do that as often as possible, regardless of the circumstances around me. How do you guys feel about that? Should people adopt a growth mindset, or should they adopt a fixed mindset?
When it comes to physical fitness and you know, mental fitness, and including other things, I believe that people should have a growth mindset, because as we are developing, you don't want to be a you know, a 13-year-old in a 30-year-old man's body, right? You want to be able to think educatedly and according to your age and all that, and it allows you to try out new things. Just like you said, you know, if we have a fixed mindset, you know, and you're fearful of certain things, then I mean, again, it's okay to be to fear things, but when you try to overcome those fears, you're developing as a person mentally, and you will feel much better if those fears become, you know, strengths, no matter what they are, right?
You can conquer those strengths. Go ahead, Dr. Houston.
Oh, well, I was just really agreeing with Richard. I think that he's right on point, and I think that one of the things that I remember just growing up and going to the gym, I would go to the gym and I would think, man, there are all of these people that are not going. I'm spending an hour and a half in the gym, and you know, they look good, and I'm doing all of this work, and you know, it's like I was feeling kind of like jealous of them not having to do all of the work that I was doing. But then over time, and I think that's the true tale, is that over time, you know, my body feels good, and you start to see people who are your age as you get older that they can't do some of the same things. And Richard, and you guys may even see some of the same things. You might see some peers that are your age that aren't as fit, that aren't able, that are walking a little bit slower, that are going upstairs and they're out of breath, and you know, those small things that add up.
Right.
And so the fitness piece of it is that, hey, you know what, I just want to be able to breathe well when I go up the stairs and not have to have a heavy breath. You know?
Yeah. That should be a goal. You know, I feel like genuinely nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Hey, I want to be unhealthy," or I don't want to be as healthy as I was yesterday. You know, I really genuinely feel that people don't wake up that way. So, since we're talking about these things that we can do on the go to stay mentally and physically fit, I think what we've talked about that they both go together, right? Our mindset is what gets us into physical action, physical fitness. Dr. Houston wakes up in the morning and he goes through his routine, you know, and his brain is taking him through all of his actions, and it just becomes repetitive and it becomes non-negotiable. So if we could commit to a routine like that, then we are going to become more mentally and physically fit. We could talk about the happiness trifecta of when we do work out and we have those endorphins that are released. It's oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, the happiness trifecta of the endorphins that are released in the brain when we're exercising. Not only when we're exercising with a buddy, or when we're playing chess with Nicholas and Nicholas beats me and he gets all rushed, like, hey man, there's that happiness trifecta. So there's so many benefits to becoming physically fit, and we've already learned how to adopt a growth mindset to become more mentally fit. I feel like we're just getting into the conversation, but there's a few. We should probably give our audience some final tips of mental and physical fitness on the go. What are your final tips, gentlemen?
I just like to say that Dr. Houston brought up a really important point about like when he's in the gym and comparing yourself to others. I think that comparing yourself to others is one of the main things that leads people astray, because when you see, other people doing better than you get down on yourself, and that's that mental component of the physical, fitness. And having that growth mindset is just super important, that over time I'm going to get there too. I'm going to get better and I'm going to be like them, instead of thinking, I can't be like that, or, I'm not going to be as good.
Right. Comparison is the thievery of joy, I heard once before.
That's good.
And it's very easy to compare yourself to others. People are always saying, "Oh, I wish I could look like that. I wish I could." And then it takes practice to not compare yourself to other people. But my advice is, if you are going to compare yourself to other people, do it in a positive way. Don't say, oh, he's muscular, I'm never going to look like that. I'm never gonna, just like the fixed mindset that you said, Justin.
Right.
If you're going to compare yourself to other people, at least, have that motivation to say, you know what, I could look like that. Or I could get really close to looking like that, and be happy with what you achieve. Maybe you might not be super duper buff, or maybe you might not have the capability of becoming the most genius person in the world, right. But people can get very close to that if they try. So again, if they're going to compare themselves to someone else, do it in a positive way.
Love that. Love that.
I would say compare yourself to your better self. Because you have an image of what you want to look like, what you want to be like, and it's inside you. And so when you look at yourself in the mirror, and then you look at that self that you know that you want to be, or that you want to look like or act like or be like, then compare yourself to that, and then strive to be that particular person that you're becoming, and let that old person that you are dying from, let that old person die, and then the new person manifest. And you're constantly manifesting yourself, your better self.
I love that. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, in the words of Jordan Peterson, and imagine who you could be, and then aim single-mindedly at that. What does that man look like? What does that man talk like, act like? How does he treat people? How much money does he have? Does he have a family? But more importantly, the physical and mental aspect of it. Who is that man, and how do we become that man? And every day we do what we can with what we have while we can to achieve that man. So this is incredible. Nicholas, Richard, Dr. Houston, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your incredible insight. I want to commit to you guys really quick, and I'm going to tell you, Richard, I'm going to drink a half a gallon of water tomorrow. And Dr. Houston, I'm going to do 25 push-ups before I go to bed and in the morning.
Okay.
Nicholas, I'm gonna play a game of chess. I'm gonna find someone to play it with. Hopefully, I get to play with you one day. And if you guys want to commit to something verbally, we'll talk about it the next time we see each other. If not, there's no pressure. But let me know.
I think that's me.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead. I will commit to that now, and I will see you guys soon. I want to thank you for your incredible insight. I want to thank you for coming out to the show. Thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this content on being mentally and physically fit on the go, and you want to enjoy more Brother Be Well content, please visit our website at brotherbewell.com. Again, that's brotherbewell.com. As always, I'm your host, Justin Martinez, signing off and always reminding you, brother, be well. Thanks for coming.